Hey everybody, Brian Zane here, and welcome to my review of NXT Takeover War Games 2019. No, your eyes are not deceiving you. This review is coming after my Survivor Series review that I posted earlier, so the whole timeline's mixed up now. Up is down, black is white, nothing makes sense, kind of like main roster WWE television. Anyway, the opening matchup here is the Women's War Game match, first of its kind, as Team Baszler takes on Team Ripley. During the pre-show, it was discovered that Mia Yim was jumped backstage by a mystery assailant, and so her replacement is going to be Dakota Kai, who was originally snubbed for that final spot on Rhea Ripley's team in favor of Mia Yim. Very important to know for later. Io Shirai and Candice LeRae are the first two to start things out. Lots of history between these two. Candice going for a dive between the rings, but does not look good. Io takes over for a while with some kicks and some dives. Fans try and jump the gun by doing the 3, 2, 1, like a bunch of assholes, but the clock is actually hidden for the first part of this matchup. There's a "Where's the clock" chant. They tried to hide it from you people. Bianca Belair is the next one to enter. Candice gets beat down some more. Rhea Ripley, the captain, is the next one in, and she begins hucking in tons of weapons. Ripley slams Bianca into a trash can. Kaylee Ray, the UK Women's Champion's next. She brings in even more plunder. Tornado DDT on a chair. Lots of teasing in the corner around a big pile of chairs. Ripley powerbombs many women onto them, including her own partner. Then Belair hits a 450 on Rhea. Dakota Kai emerges, and then she runs back in and beats the hell out of her best friend Tegan Nox, slamming the cage door into Tegan's surgically repaired leg, shoving William Regal. She's gone absolutely crazy here. She leaves, comes back to beat her up some more, and then finally, when she's all done, Shayna Baszler is the last one to emerge from her cage, and so War Games officially begins with a 4-on-2 advantage for Shayna Baszler's team. Now, as for Dakota's heel turn, yes, it was a painfully predictable move here for her to turn heel. You could see it from the moment that Mia Yim was chosen for Team Rhea in favor of Dakota Kai. You could see in her facials and body language, I'm going to turn heel now, and that's exactly what she did. I think some people conflate predictable with bad. I don't think this was a bad thing at all, even though it was very easy to see. A lot of the biggest moments in wrestling, when you look back at it, are either very predictable or easily telegraphed. You know, again, predictable is not bad. I think it's bad when it's like predictable and then it's executed poorly. Not the case with this one. I think that Dakota's heel turn was very well done. Just the body language and the facial expression she had just before she ran back in there to attack Tegan, the physicality and the ferocity which she attacked Tegan's leg and everything and taken out on William Regal was just so well done. I'm not sure what a heel Dakota Kai is going to look like in terms of her in-ring style and her promo ability, how that's going to change. I have very similar feelings to what happened when Bayley turned heel about a month and a half ago, but I like what they did here to set things off, and I'm greatly looking forward to how they're going to keep this going as time goes on. Shayna tries to handcuff Rhea, but she escapes, and now using the cuffs as a weapon. Rhea and Candice fighting back. Ripley dumps Kaylee Ray into the cage wall. Candice hits a lovely lion salt onto Shayna, but Bianca decks her with a trash can, then throws her into Ripley. Candice beats the shit out of Bianca with a kendo stick, but Io stops her. She climbs the top of the cage, but Candice cuts her off. Kaylee Ray follows her. Candice with a top rope poison Rana that falls out of the frame. We have no idea where she landed. Io with a big-ass moonsault off the top of the cage onto Belair and Candice. Ripley decks Kaylee Ray with a trash can in midair, but then Shayna gets her in the Kirifuda clutch. Rhea fights out of it by using the aforementioned handcuffs on Shayna, so they're handcuffed together. She hits the riptide onto Shayna onto some chairs, pins, and wins. I give this one 5 stars out of 5. This was a hell of an opening matchup and a terrific War Games match. In terms of, it being the first ever women's War Games match, the ladies more than lived up to the hype here. I feel bad that Mia Yim didn't get a chance to participate in it ultimately, but the story they told from beginning to end here, Dakota Kai's heel turn and really stacking the odds against Rhea and Candice, the 4-on-2 advantage, the insurmountable odds they had to overcome, and the crazy spots we saw in there as well, really kind of peppering in and really punctuating this awesome opening match here. And speaking of Rhea Ripley, between this match and then Friday night SmackDown before that and then Survivor Series after that, what a hell of a weekend for Rhea Ripley. Like, Shayna won the main event at Survivor Series, and that was good for her, but I think she was already kind of legitimized. Like, Rhea Ripley, this was majorly legitimizing for her, this tour de force performance she had all weekend long. Sky's the limit for her. Up next, triple threat match between Pete Dunne, Killian Dain, and Damien Priest. It's a grudge match between 3 very hard-hitting boys. The winner of this match will face Adam Cole the next night at Survivor Series for the NXT title. This match is punctuated with a lot of big, intense 3-man spots, one of which I think will stay in my mind forever is the Michinoku driver that Dain does to Dunne, and then he sits on Priest's face on the way down. Jesus. Double fallaway slam Samoan drop combo onto his opponents was impressive. impressive, though. Seeing Pete willingly leap into Killian's arms in that spot made me laugh. Dunne is laid out with what turns into a double powerbomb. The brief collusion between Dain and Priest ends pretty quick. Dunne is thrown hither and yon, a razor's edge by Priest onto the announce table. Dain with a cannonball onto Priest right after that. Priest hits the razor's edge onto Dain, for crying out loud. The big man. Dain is able to recover, hits a cannonball on Priest and Dunne at the same time, followed up with a Vader bomb. Dunne hits the bitter end on Dain, but Priest with a last-ditch effort to break it up. Priest hits Dunne with the Reckoning, and Dain just falls onto them to break up the pin. All three are in the corner. Dunne breaks Priest's fingers, superplex to Killian. Dunne is on Dain's back with a sleeper. Dain with a senton onto Priest with Dunne still on his back, so by virtue of being the one in the middle of that man-witch, Dunne covers Priest to win the match and go on to Survivor Series. I give this one 3.5 stars out of 5. If I'm being honest, I was really tempted to knock it down half a star because I felt the match dragged a little bit. Felt it went a little too long for my taste. Sometimes these matches go longer than they need to really go. I think I get it because, you know, it's a takeover with only 4 matches on the night, and so you kind of need to stretch it out a little bit. But this one, I felt you could have shaved about 5 minutes off it. I think would have been a stronger matchup. Still lots of really cool, impactful spots throughout the match, which kept the score up for me. And seeing Pete Dunne win the way he did was pretty clever. So yeah, 3.5 for me. They announced the next TakeOver events taking place in February in Portland, Oregon, which I'm very excited to hear. My hometown getting some TakeOver love. They've been touring the Pacific Northwest on and off for the last couple of years, so seems like the natural fit. I'd like to try and go up there, see if I can make it to my hometown to visit and catch that show. But at the same time, there's also a show I'm trying to get booked on the weekend before in Eugene, so not sure if I can swing one or even both of those dates, but be that as it may, your next match sees Finn Balor making his return to TakeOver for the first time in over 4 years against the original bro, Matt Riddle. Some good graps to start things off in the match. Balor getting the kicks in and begins to work over Riddle. Matt comes back with some knees and some kicks of his own. An ankle lock by Riddle countered into another ankle lock by Riddle, then a rope break. Riddle has a strong style moment here, no selling a German suplex, hitting a flurry of offense right after that. Riddle hitting the spear, a bro hammer, and a kick out. I bet you Goldberg doesn't like his finisher being used as a throwaway move. Riddle goes for a Phoenix splash, but Finn puts the knees up, goes to the coup de grace, but Riddle moves and gets the bro mission locked in. Finn's able to get out of it, hits the 1916 DDT, and wins the hard-fought battle. I give it 3.5 stars out of 5 as well. I think it was a really strong singles matchup. I think what impressed me the most about this was just how fluid everything looked between them. They have really good chemistry here in this matchup. Everything looks so crisp and flowed so well as the counters and the counters upon counters. Really great stuff. The one thing I would have liked to have seen more of was more of a dark side to Finn in the ring in terms of heel mannerisms. I know that, you know, with the style of wrestling in NXT, it's more face-heel personalities and promos, and then in the ring, everyone wrestles very similar flashy styles that the fans pop for no matter what, what side of the spectrum you're on. I think, with Finn trying to solidify more of the heel turn, I think it'd be cool to see just more of the heel mannerisms. Maybe there was some stuff I didn't catch, but that's one thing I noticed was a certain lack of kind of like meanness by Finn here in the match. In your main event, it's the men's War Games matchup as all 4 members of the Undisputed Era take on Team Ciampa. No 4th member is announced for Team Ciampa yet as things begin. Tommaso is the first man for his team to enter the ring, and he's joined by Roderick Strong. They do their thing for a few minutes. Then Kyle O'Reilly enters the ring, and it's 2-on-1 against Ciampa. Many running forearms by Strong. Dominik Dijakovic shows up and helps even the odds. Great spot here where he punches O'Reilly repeatedly as he keeps bouncing off the ropes, going down with each punch. Strong with a cool-ass backbreaker off the ropes onto Ciampa, chasing the Dragon onto Tommaso as well. Keith Lee is next, and he's a big, agile fella. Adam Cole, the final member of the Era to enter. Before he gets in the ring, though, he brings in many tables from the get-go. Ciampa shoving Cole off the apron, going through a table that he set up himself, leaning against the barricade. They all fight for a while more. It's 4-on-3. The final clock winds down. Who's the 4th man? It's Kevin Owens, here for revenge against the UE after last week on Raw. The crowd goes absolutely nuts for Kevin here. What I really think is cool is the attention to detail in his return, because he comes out with his original NXT Titantron, and he's also wearing his first NXT t-shirt with the KO in duct tape. Really cool move here for them to have that kind of, as he's returning to his NXT roots, so to speak, showing up in a big way with a bit of the original KO flair from his first run at NXT. Kevin's a house of fire upon entering the cage. Great sell the stunner by Adam Cole. Dijakovic and Lee do a double Beal onto Roderick Strong between rings, and it's an ugly landing. He didn't get enough of a boost there. Kind of reminded me when Candice LeRae tried doing a very similar dive in the opening matchup, and it also kind of looked ugly. Keith Lee dives onto everyone from the top rope. O'Reilly attacking Keith's legs, but Dominic with an Asai moonsault from one ring to the other to break it up. We have dives from him, Bobby Fish, a swanton by KO, strong slam to Keith Lee off the top rope, great strength by Roderick here. Cole avoiding a package pile driver on the center metal strip, hitting a Panama Sunrise on Kevin after a couple of attempts there. Ciampa with many knees to Strong and Fish and Cole. Adam Cole and Ciampa fighting on top of the cage, which sets in motion a whole bunch of big spots in the opposite ring. A chokeslam by Dijakovic to Strong through one table. KO with the frog splash to O'Reilly through another one. Keith Lee powerbombs Fish through another table. Then, of course, the big air raid crash off the top of the cage through two tables. Holy shit, what a completely insane bump that was. Ciampa wins for his team. We cut to a shot of Britt Baker at ringside for a couple of seconds. That's awkward. I give the match 4.5 stars out of 5. Things began kind of uninspired at the beginning when there were fewer people in there, but the intensity went way up the more people got in there, especially when Adam Cole started bringing the plunder into the ring, and lots of big crazy-ass car crash spots to really send the fans home happy, kind of like the big grand finale of a fireworks show, and it's all the explosions going on at once. I give the slight edge in ratings to the Women's War Games match, because I think that when it comes to storytelling, I think the women's match was a better story in the ring than what we saw in the Men's War Games match. Not taking anything away from that one, because it was still a hell of a match and a hell of a way to close the show, but I think from bell to bell, the story they told with the women and the drama they had, again, those insurmountable odds and the dramatic turn by Dakota Kai, I think really made me more invested in that one as well. Again, the Men's War Games match, hell of a way to end the show. Crazy car crash stuff you can't look away from near the end. Very exciting, but in terms of overall presentation and action and story, gotta give a slight edge to the women's match. My final grade for TakeOver War Games 2019 is an A. Now, I've said before many times in this channel, it's not really fair. It's kind of difficult to compare NXT takeovers to the main roster pay-per-views that happen the next night because they're totally different products. You know, different run times, different presentation, different kind of storytelling, different in-ring philosophy. Everything about those shows is different. So, yeah, TakeOver was, on the whole, a much stronger show than Survivor Series in terms of in-ring action and drama and all that, but TakeOver's TakeOver, and Survivor Series isn't. Still a fantastic TakeOver to close out 2019. A lot more questions and answers as we head into TakeOver Portland in February. And once again, I gotta give all the credit in the world to the men and women who beat the bejesus out of each other in War Games on Saturday, then wrestled at a very competitive level the next night at Survivor Series. That is absolutely insane. My hat is off to all of them. And it's overall a great weekend of wrestling overall across War Games and Survivor Series, in my opinion. Let me know what you thought about TakeOver in the comment section below, and give it a letter grade by going to the corner of your screen right here, that icard, that little gimmick here in the upper right hand corner. I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time.